Welcome to 100 Proof Radio with Jay Wesley, your weekly journey into examining your spirit choices and social etiquette in different settings. Do you know the written and unspoken rules about ordering and consuming alcohol during a night out on the town with your friends, at office holiday parties, or when hosting at home? Well, pour your favorite drink and get ready for an unfiltered, enlightening, and comfortable ride. Sip back and relax. And welcome to 100 Proof Radio with Jay Wesley.
Thank you all for tuning in to the 36th episode, which is Cocktails and Domestic Violence. Does your sip impact your abuse? Hashtag don't hit me. We are here at our new home of Rolling Out TV. So thank you, Rolling Out. I'm giving you a big shout out. And as always, we are the show that teach you cocktail responsibility, alcohol responsibility to help you navigate through different social settings and situations when alcohol may be involved. Tonight, we will talk about whereas most couples experience disagreements and arguments, it's normal. But what happens when heated words become hard fists? And how is this abuse impacted when we throw a cocktail in the mix? Join us tonight on Rolling Out's Facebook page to watch the 100 Proof Radio Show as we investigate the association of cocktails and domestic violence. Studies show that violence in a relationship is almost always increased with alcohol consumption. Our guest will discuss how this violence develops at home, as well as some of the contributing factors such as alcohol. Additionally, we'll explore how alcohol is used in an abusive situation. Is it a coping mechanism to deal with a rough relationship or marriage? Or is it a way to abate? Does it give the abuser an excuse for his or her actions? We will lead a live, healthy, mature, and informative conversation about how alcohol may play a part in family dynamics. The purpose of this panel is to allow advocates to empower beverage consumers on how alcohol plays a role in domestic violence. Tonight, we explore the impact of domestic violence on the family as a whole, especially with alcohol consumption as a leading factor. Let's discuss this issue candidly, shedding light on existing support networks, organizations, and programs which caters to victims as well as their families. As always, we encourage liquor manufacturers to be corporate socially responsible, so we want to give a big shout out to one of our liquor sponsors that's here tonight that had the guts to be part of this conversation, to acknowledge that sometimes alcohol can play a part in domestic violence, and will teach us still, because this is what this show is all about, is telling you all about cocktails and beverages. So without further ado, I'm going to take a 1-minute sip break and bring to you Nigel with Ooh Wee Liquor.
Hello, and welcome everyone to the show. My name is Nigel. I'm the creator of Ooh Wee Premium Liqueurs. We're made with premium aged rums, real fruits and spices, created in the Caribbean, but we're headquartered right here in Atlanta. We just launched 2 flavors, our guava pineapple and our passion fruit about 9 months ago. We're here in Georgia and in Alabama. You can drink these straight, or you can make cocktails with them. And I'm about to show you a quick cocktail that you can make. Sangria is the rage right now, but instead of getting it in a bottle or spending a whole bunch of time making it, just simply get the passion fruit Ooh Wee, just pour it into your glass. Already had some fruit in there. And then grab you one of your favorite wines, pour it on top, and bam, instant sangria, fresh fruits, tastes like it's homemade because it really is. So if you want to get these recipes, ooey.com, and you can also find store locations also on our website.
Nigel, thank you. I've had a sip. The ladies They aren't necessarily drinking alcohol. They have mocktail versions. I love it. How do you all like your mocktails?
It's good.
Very good.
Yeah. Have peach in mine.
Yes.
So, Nigel, this is a hard conversation to be part of. What are your thoughts of liquor distributors or manufacturers such as yourself being corporate socially responsible to be able to discuss and acknowledge that these things do happen under the influence of alcohol?
Well, yeah, first you have to understand that the product that you're producing and that you're putting out into the public can have negative effects. And because going in knowing that, you have to have the responsibility of properly marketing. Of course, you have the laws that protect, children from drinking alcohol. But, it's all about personal responsibility. There's corporate responsibility on our part, but then there's also personal responsibility. And everything that we put out, we always remind people to sip responsibly, drink responsibly. And, it's about having fun, having a good time. And, like I said, it can influence other people's behavior. But I think when it comes to alcohol, man, it sometimes it just brings out what's inside of people already. So if they have evil intent and bad intent, the alcohol just enhances that and brings that out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being part of this show and having the courage to speak to it, to be here, still introducing your product. Yes. Because it's a wonderful product, and you're located right here in Atlanta, Georgia. So you all go out and try Ooh Wee for this Memorial Day weekend. It's going to make a great cocktail wherever you are. So without further delay, let's go right into it and introducing our guest for tonight. And I'm going to start to my right with Miss Rhonda Thompson. How are you?
I'm good, Jay. How are you?
All right, that's your sexy voice or something?
What are you talking about?
That's your radio voice, sexy voice, All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself. We know that you're the founder of Rose Sharon, author, domestic violence advocate, and empowerment speaker. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about all of that.
Well, yeah, I am the founder of Rose of Sharon. We call it Rose of Sharon for short. The name is Rose of Sharon Transitional Living for Women, where we provide supportive services to women and children who are fleeing domestic violence. All of this, being an author and empowerment speaker, it comes from my own story. So I am an overcomer of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human sex trafficking. So from that, I took my pain and made it into purpose.
Wow, that's amazing. So we're going to get into all of that so that you all can know the details of the story behind Rhonda. But to my left here, I have Harolyn, like Carolyn. And Harolyn is a victim advocate as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Harolyn.
My name is Harolyn Swinger Ross, and I am the co-founder of Fellowship Community Outreach and Saved Survivors Against Violence, Empower, and Determined. And we are here in Michigan. We are here in Georgia and in Michigan, and we work with the community, not only victims but homelessness. Our main thing is victims, not domestic violence and human trafficking. I am a survivor of both. My husband is a minister, so we do minister together, as well as I am a life coach, and I am a professional development coach as well.
Amazing. So this is definitely going to be a deep conversation tonight. But as always, this is 100 Proof, and we keep it 100. We have fun conversations. We have real conversation, and it's a real conversation, as you've already heard tonight. And we haven't even gotten into the conversation that it happens. So what is one person to do when they find themselves in a situation where alcohol is prevalent? Or what advice would you give to someone out there that's in a situation where their husband or wife goes out and consume alcohol, come back home, and whether it's verbal or physical abuse begin? How do they handle that situation? Because sometimes they end up saying, but he's sweet all the time, outside of, the weekend when he go drink Friday nights. Mm-hmm. What advice do you give a person? Let's start with you, Rhonda.
So you got me scared to talk because he said my voice was different.
No, just be yourself. Be yourself.
Well, first of all, although I do have a sip here and there, alcohol itself is spirits. And so when someone is consuming alcohol and it changes their spirit from what was pleasant to something more violent or vulgar, the victim have to be aware of the triggers. And so if you're not leaving the situation, I would say definitely not agitated. And so in that environment,
Sounds like you have to walk on the eggshells then? Is that what you're advising?
absolutely, because again, we're talking about spirits. And when we talk about domestic violence, any type of substance abuse, whether it's alcohol, drugs, even mental illness, that person is not in their right mind. And so the victim have to play games to make herself a little bit more subdued so that she doesn't get it.
Interesting. What's your thoughts on what Rhonda stated?
I totally agree, and also would suggest that there are different programs that can actually assist families in dealing with alcoholism that a lot of people don't even know exist. And the hospitals, our community health care centers, are those that provide that services. The community health departments can provide their services. It is very important to understand how to deal with an alcoholic. And like she said, walking on eggshells is one, but I tell every woman, man, whoever's dealing with alcoholism in their family, have a safety plan. Sometimes, if you know he went out, you got to go home, leave, and let him calm down. Don't be there when he get there. And that's just a reality. Because when he wake up sober, he be all right. But he come home, he drunk, he's going to start some problems. He's going to be agitated. Everything you say is going to be a problem.
Right.
You cook the wrong way. Yeah.
And let's be clear to our consumers out there, this doesn't happen with every family where someone goes out and drink and they come home and become abusive. So it's not every situation, it's not every family, it's not every circumstance with someone drinking. So I want to acknowledge that. But domestic violence studies do show for those that are having these situations, it's increased when alcohol is involved. So our sponsor touched on a great point earlier when he mentioned everyone does not do it. You know, so that leads me to ask: is it possible to love someone who maybe become abusive only when they're under the influence?
Yeah.
Can that relationship work?
Yeah.
Can the relationship work?
Right. So you answer it. They can love them, but can the relationship work?
At some point it's going to crumble. It's toxic. There's when we have a romantic relationship dynamic, there's already roller coasters. And so now you're adding someone that has some type of substance abuse, and not everybody that have substance abuse is abusers, like you said, but if they have that learned behavior already in their DNA, then it's bound to be a devastation. So I don't know that can survive without counseling and some type of separation for that problem to heal.
Nigel, seeing that you're still at the table with us, do you feel that liquor manufacturers can have more acknowledgement or do more for domestic violence victims, seeing that studies show that it happens at an increased rate when alcohol is involved?
Yeah, I mean, I believe there's always room for improvement and for the betterment of a situation. And so, there's a lot that's being done already. There's a council, Distilled Spirits of the United States, that, they set out guidelines and, they help to regulate us as manufacturers and offer, ideas and recommendations. So it's an ongoing process, and it's, I think, I know I am. I'm always open to making situations better, especially within the realm of the alcohol industry, no doubt.
And once again, thank you all for being here and seeing that you all have a liquor manufacturer here and knowing the studies and how you've been personally impacted. And for those that's out there, liquor manufacturers that's watching, what would you like to see them do, or what can they do to bring more exposure or research or prevention to domestic violence? Let's start with you, Carolyn.
Well, I am a firm believer of personal responsibility
Okay.
because they can do a whole lot. At the end of the day, it goes back on the person who is consuming. And a lot of people drink, but a lot of people don't know their limits. And their limits take them to a whole different level. And I know people who, like my abusers, they didn't even remember the abuse. Someone, when I tell you could not remember, and when it got to court, the psychologists even said they do not honestly remember it. It was almost like a different person under alcohol.
Blacking out.
So it is a personal responsibility, and they have to know when enough is enough. Now, as far as a bar, you see it's getting to a level, I don't care what they say. You should not serve them any more alcohol.
I agree.
And I think in a bar they shouldn't serve no more than 3.
Okay.
Personally, that's my personal opinion. But I know somebody about to throw the whole phone at me. They like,
I gotta turn my back on that one.
Get her off.
Jay like, wait a minute. I'm a big guy.
I'm serious. They about to throw the phone at me.
And just to interject there too, when it comes to the suppliers on the manufacturer side, we are like twice removed from the consumer, from the end user. We're not allowed to sell the product directly to the consumer, even though we can market to that consumer. So when it actually comes down to that consumer actually putting that liquid in their system, there are 2 other levels that, once we, release it into the industry, there are 2 other levels that it has to go through before it actually gets to the end user. And that's not taking away all responsibility, but it just shows that there's some complexities there. Like, you just mentioned the bar. So, everyone who touches, from the end user to the bars, to the distributors, all the way up to us, have a role to watch out and look out for folks.
And and with all due respect, I agree with both statements, but I do still think that as a manufacturer of some, you're putting something out that can potentially harm someone. And I'm all for personal responsibility, but there's nothing wrong with seeing the alcohol industry be a voice and show the risk of, they wait until you have a car accident from drinking and driving to show you a video. The police department or the jurisdictional system, as far as drinking and driving, you get a DUI, and in order to get your license back, you got to take a class, and they show you this video, but show the video before they get the license, of what can happen if you're drinking and driving. Same with guns or anything else. I think that realizing that society has a habit of abusing things, there's nothing wrong with being a voice for those that may be an innocent victim in a situation, to just say, hey, there's risk for this. Like they say there's risk for drinking while you're pregnant. Same concept.
So is it possible for, and that, I think I may have asked this, to be in love with someone, but how is it that the alcohol only makes me want to hit you? Like, I'm sweet and loving 6 days a week. No issue, no problem. I'm the perfect husband, perfect father. And then when I have a drink, I become verbally and or physically abusive. Like, does this happen? Is this normal?
That's a good question.
How does that work?
It's who they are.
It's an excuse.
So our sponsor said that earlier. That's who they are.
Said
So
it right off the top.
it's in them, and so the alcohol. I am firmly believe that alcohol magnifies
I was just gonna say that.
whatever's already in there. However you feel. Have you been around an alcoholic, a person just drunk, not even alcoholic, and I promise you, they done told you everything about you they did not like, and you never knew. You didn't like the way my nose was shaped. I'm like, why does it matter how my nose? But my nose have aggravated you that much, but you only gonna tell me that when you're drunk. So alcohol makes you honest.
That is so.
And I am so
Serum.
sick. Alcohol. Now, when I used to drink,
Courage juice.
when I used to drink, I'm trying to tell you, my friends didn't like me. They were like, oh my God, you done told me everything about me. If I ain't like them, anything I like, you can find out. I did. You know what?
So how long have you not been drinking?
Well, listen.
I mean, like
I'm
the old
always
you.
honest. Okay, I'm probably brutally honest.
Okay.
But alcohol makes me brutally.
So
honest.
how long have you not been drinking?
About 15 years.
Oh wow. it's been
Well,
a
when
long
you
time.
start, I'm just gonna be honest. When you wake up in lawns, yeah, okay, yeah, it's time to stop.
So, see-
I was never violent, but I like to.
So let me ask you this.
Body.
Rhonda may have an idea where I'm about to go. Based on what you just stated, were you the type of woman that would go out? Because we've talked about the man, and I've used the scenario of the man. Would you go out and drink and then come home and become verbally abusive to your man, your husband?
No, I would not. I am okay with my man.
You didn't
I
go
would-
home. You didn't get
Now,
the courage
if
like
he-
you little
Wait a minute, no,
peewees.
no. So I was.
Because you know y'all do that sometimes.
Yes, but I was the one that would kind of. Okay, we be honest. It's nighttime.
Right, it's
I-
100. That's why we call it 100 proof.
Alcohol brought hormones with
Okay.
me. Okay, understand that. That's where I'm gonna go because I don't know kids watching. But alcohol brought hormones, and just understand that them hormones took me to different levels. That he wasn't drinking,
Right.
he wasn't mad. Put it like
Right.
that, okay?
Right.
However, now if he did get wrong with me,
Right.
I was ready
Right.
because I got my courage juice.
Right.
And when I did, the time that I did fight him back, yeah, I had me a sip too. We went at it.
So, Rhonda, what is your advice to women that do go out and have a sip and come home and become verbally abusive to their men as if, you know, we're supposed to be able to take it because we're seen as strong?
Right. Yeah, I mean, abuse of any kind is not tolerable. You know, whether it's male, female, verbal, physical, sexual, none of that is acceptable. And I've actually had men say, you know, we'll tell the women not to provoke me, you know, and that is a provoking behavior. And then once something happens that she hadn't expected, now we're crying domestic abuse. So it not that she still deserved it. He needs to run with dignity still, because you are still the stronger vessel, and you know that she's not in her right mind at that time. But and that's not an excuse. I'm just saying that I don't think that I've ever been that way, but it does give you courage. It does make you feel like, okay, you know, I call it my turn off switch, you know, turn off the reality and I'm Superwoman. But that whole verbal thing, that's where it starts for some men, is that, you know, women are constantly provoking them, whether it's alcohol or not involved.
So let's just say if the woman is in a situation and he's deciding to leave, he's trying to take the higher road and he's trying to leave the home to prevent anything further from happening. But as he's attempting to leave, she begins to hit him and throw things at him to get him to stay now.
Call the police on
It happens.
And so he can't leave the house. So what do we do in those situations?
Call the police.
But as a man, you can't be seen as
No.
calling the police.
Call the police.
Call the police.
Because that's seen as weak. Because when I
No.
get back around my homies,
No.
she's done told everybody, you know, he
So you
weak.
either gonna
He
go
called
to
the
jail
police.
for hitting her, or you're gonna call the police so she can get herself together.
That's
Right.
right.
Either way, the police gonna get called one way or the other.
Right.
So you gonna call them, or you just gonna find a way to just ease out some kind of way, or you're going to call the police. I would say call the police. Seriously. And if your homies don't got a problem with it, then that's your homie's problem.
That's right.
And so children who witness violence between parents are more likely to display harmful drinking patterns later in life. With this said, would you say that battering is a result of socially learned behavior?
Absolutely. Our parents teach us how to be. Whether they say it or not, they model the example of how we should live our life. And even there's this population that have thought that if he hits me, he loves me, because they see mama and daddy fight but stay together. So that must mean that that's love. And so it makes them desensitized to what's happening in the household and think this is how it's supposed to be. This is my normal. And so they draw those type of relationships to themselves as they become older.
All right, excellent. So we're going to be getting ready for our next segment, which is Causing a Stir. This is where you get to chime in. You can go to Rolling Out's Facebook page and get ready to ask your questions there. We have our producers, Lady Ursula, going to be monitoring social media for us. So we would love to have your questions and how alcohol may impacted you for domestic violence. But until then, we're getting ready to take another sip break. And I love my sip breaks. So we have our sponsor, Nigel, coming to you with Ooh Wee Premium Caribbean Rum.
So, Ooh Wee, like I said earlier, it's made with real fruit. And that makes it very versatile. You can drink this by itself over ice, or you can make 1,000,001 cocktails. I showed you the sangria earlier. You can make mimosas. You can do the rum punch. Just about anything, and across different spirits, using vodka, using whiskey, using gin, tequila, or like I said, just add a wine or champagne. One of the highlights of Ooh Wee is our guava pineapple. It makes everything better. In fact, it even makes our own liqueur better. When we put them together, and I'll put this in a shaker because we're gonna have to shake this up a bit. So I'm gonna put some of our passion fruit in a shaker. And we have these Ooh Wee Baby shakers, cocktail shakers. And you can get those at liquor stores when you see us around town. And I'm gonna pour in some guava pineapple into that passion fruit. And I'll put that in the shaker right here. And I'm gonna just shake that up. And just like that, I've created the Ooh Wee Baby. If you guys remember that song back in the day.
Sing it.
So I just pour that in, and then I get a splash of ginger ale. Just put that on top. And that's the Ooh Wee Baby. Simple, easy, quick, absolutely delish. OooWee.com for cocktails and store locations around Georgia.
All right. So do I get? Is that my
Yes,
version
this
right there?
this is you.
That looks good.
That's you. That's the Ooh Wee Baby.
Thank you. I'm
All
gonna give it a
right.
try. This is the first time I'm drinking by myself.
We sorry.
So
But
sorry.
you know, it makes more for me. So. Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's one of our better cocktails. Yes.
Yes. So.
Baby.
So Nigel, since you're part of here on a deep discussion that most liquor manufacturers would run from, why do you think that liquor manufacturers would be afraid and bow out of a very serious, deep conversation?
You know, no one likes to deal with negative issues, and that's really a negative issue that is blamed specifically on the product that we're trying to get you to partake in. And so it's a slippery slope for us. But you know, there has to be a level of maturity about it to understand again that there is responsibility on our part to recognize that we are producing something that can harm someone if they don't again treated properly and respected. So, I think we're getting better as a whole, collectively, in the industry. Again, with the outside of third-party organizations, to really face it, not run from it. But it's going to take time. Anything that affects the dollar is going to be met with some resistance, unfortunately. But overall, we want everyone to have a good time when they're drinking our products, and that's our goal. That's what we want. And so anything, like I said, that we can do to help make that happen.
Right, absolutely. And again, I take my hats off to you to be here and be part of this deep conversation.
Well, I'm brand new too, so maybe I'm just naive and don't know. Give me a couple of years, and I'll be like,
Don't come back.
Right. But no, again, thank you for being here and being part of this conversation. And as you heard Nigel say, be sure to drink responsibly. Do it without going home and beat your wife or husband or verbally abuse anyone. So show love when you are under the influence. So what do you all think of hearing a liquor sponsor being here to be part of this conversation?
Well, we're all for everyone talking about it, and it's good to hear both sides. You know what I'm saying? So, and just to stand correct, we don't believe that alcohol is the number. Like it's just an enhancer for what was already there. So we don't blame alcohol. We blame.
Don't blame it on the alcohol.
I made a song about it.
Right. We don't blame the alcohol, because I'll have a glass of wine or some Danny Vodka here and there or something like that, but I'm not gonna go and beat someone or go steal a car. You know what I'm saying? So it has a lot to do with where that person is in their life, and if they look at because you have kids that drink and joyride and do stupid stuff like that. So with any type of substance, it is about putting it in the hands, or the person that's consuming it being responsible enough to handle it.
Right. So we are in the midst of our Causing a Stir segment. This is where you get to go to Facebook, go to Rolling Out's page, and type your questions there. You can ask them to anyone that's part of this panel, part of this conversation. We would love to hear your stories or your questions. And we see Robert Ransom out there watching, so we want to acknowledge you. Thank you, sir, giving us a peace sign for this conversation. And coming up later in the show on our Hotspot segment, we have former NFL player Walt Harris. He has a major announcement that he's going to talk about tonight, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But going back into Causing a Stir, one of our questions is, would reducing alcohol availability or increasing its pricing decrease domestic violence? Harolyn, what do you think about that?
Absolutely not. Because again, it's personal responsibility.
Period.
And people are going to pay for what they want. When I tell you that, I don't care how high you make it. If you want it bad enough, you can find a way to get it. So I do applaud the alcohol companies for being here and being part of the conversation and wanting to help. But again, they need to make sure that they are also personal responsibility. It goes back to, you have a choice. And I'm a firm believer that an abuser doesn't start out with alcohol. The abuse was there before the alcohol. You just didn't see it. It wasn't that big. But abusers don't become abusers just because they're alcohol. And I know people who drink, and when I tell you, these people black out. But the sweetest people under alcohol.
Right.
But then it's inside. The abundance from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if it's not in there, it can't come out.
So, Rhonda, at what point do you pack your bags and leave? Is it at the first time they're sipping and they raise their voice that kind of shake you a little bit? That could be a sign that there is a lot more to come down the road, or maybe it's not. Maybe that's just an isolated incident, an outlier, a one-time occurrence. At what point do you leave? Do you leave right at that point, at the first time of being shooken, or shooken in a verbal type of way? He just raised his voice in a very angry tone, didn't call you out your name or anything. And then, of course, things starts to progress.
So first of all, let's identify what domestic abuse is. It's one's ability to control someone else. That's why it falls in many categories, whether it's sexual, financial, spiritual. It doesn't have to even get to the alcohol. When you get to a place in the relationship where you feel intimidated, just know that alcohol is going to enhance it. So by the time he or she has gotten to alcohol and you felt intimidation prior to it, you should have been packing your bags, to be honest. But as advocates, we know that when a victim leave a domestic violence situation, they're at a much higher risk of losing their life. So there has to be a calculated plan in order to get them out. If alcohol, mental illness, drugs are involved, she's even at more danger. So when do she leave? He or she leaves when the intimidation begins. Then when alcohol comes, yeah, we may have a problem.
Carolyn, what do you think about what Rhonda just stated?
I totally agree. And all of them are not going to leave. We know that. But I highly suggest a safety plan. Go to a family member's house or something. I will say that, I guess I have been abusive under alcohol before because somebody made me mad, probably. Mm-hmm. So, but also that first time, sometimes you just had a bad day, had something to drink, and you're tired, and a person egging something on. And sometimes it's human emotion. Now my thing is, we again have to have self-control. You can't let your emotions go to the point where you're hitting, or now you are becoming a bully. There's a difference in all of this. So I will say, yeah, you need to leave before, if you're intimidated before the alcohol, now you already know if he's finna go out and party, you finna get beat when you come back. I mean, come on, be for real.
Mm-hmm. What's next?
So I tell every woman, if you are already feeling this way, get your bank account, send it to somebody else's address, or start stashing you some money at work, or have somebody hold you some money so you can get out of there. And we both help with safety plans. So if you need us, call us.
Interesting. And when you say you both have safety plans, I want to take a moment to acknowledge Tamika Morrison. She says great conversation. So when you say safety plan, that they can call you guys.
We help with safety plans, helping create.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that.
So remember when I said that statistics have shown that when a victim leaves an abusive situation, they're more likely to lose their life. So you can't just say, oh, why don't she leave? She go pack her bags and leave. Well, what she is saying in that action is, I take back my control. So Harlan had gave a few cues. Send some money to someone else. Start pinching out money here and there that's not noticeable, so that when it's time to go, you can leave, incognito.
So they come to you all, and you all help them.
Yeah.
Create.
We can show them how to, because everybody don't know how to do a safety plan.
Yeah. And every situation is different.
Every situation is different. The problem with most people, if they're dating someone, they know too much about them. They should know where every friend live if y'all dating. Now, you have to have some kind of privacy. If you're married, if he knows everywhere you're going, then you need to be able to go to a hotel.
So is there ever a situation where let's blame it on the man again. We always get to blame with this situation. That the woman become addicted to alcohol,
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's coping mechanisms for them. Mm-hmm. So again, alcohol alone, without saying why a person drinks, some people, and here's the thing. Some people drink alcohol and they're not violent. Like if I drink, I'm going to sleep. It's bedtime. It's a nighttime for me. So it just affects everybody differently. But there are women who use alcohol or, I mean, this whole conversation is not gender specific. You know, although women are more likely to be abused by a man based on the numbers we hear. And another thing is because men don't report it, I believe the numbers are a little screwed. You know, I believe that there are more men that are going through abusive relationships, whether it's physical, spiritual, verbal, and financial. If she's the breadwinner, y'all just don't talk. You don't talk about it.
Yeah. I've witnessed it. I've seen it. I've experienced it. So it's definitely a awkward situation to be in as a man when your woman is belittling you verbally, become verbally abusive, and sometimes even physical. So for those men out there, I know that you said call the police, but if they don't want to call the police, what advice do you have for them, Harold?
Well, I do know some men who've been
do
in
we
a
need to get a safety
situation-
plan together too?
You do, seriously. But even, or call a friend. You know, I know some guys who.
But your homie's gonna ride you. If I call my homie
a
Walt,
real,
he gonna talk about
a real
me.
friend, a real friend will come to your rescue and not gonna blast you like that.
Right.
A real friend. That's the difference between a friend and a real friend.
All right.
So I would say call a friend, call a church member, call a family member, someone, call their mama. Come and get your daughter, because I need to leave and she provoking me. I don't want to hit her. Come get your daughter, whatever. You need to call somebody. If you don't call the police, call someone. So you can get out of there without hitting her.
And let's change the dynamic of that conversation, men, and have those conversations with your brothers and make it where it's a comfortable opportunity for them to say, you know, because no man really want to hit, I won't say that. Some men do want to hit women, but a man that's abusive or being abused do not want to hit her. If he do, he knows he can kill her. So it's not that he's being a punk. He's trying not to go to jail and he's trying not to hurt her. So remove the shame of having that conversation that, man, I don't want to hurt her, but I don't know how to handle this situation. You guys got to start having that conversation and stop saying, well, you know, man, and because that just continues to perpetuate men hiding.
So here's a story that we have for you all. Apparently, Oakland Raiders star lineman Donald Penn recently experienced an alleged domestic violence incident where he poured a drink on his wife's head. Are any of you familiar with this story at all? So what do you think of this professional NFL player pouring an alcoholic drink on his wife's head?
Okay, so I'm from Atlanta, but I live in Detroit. So when you say pour some liquor on somebody's head, that's what they do at a game. You know, they having fun. So explain to me. So he was mad.
Right. So I don't have all the details
Okay.
in front of me, but it was
poured-
a domestic violence issue. It was
So
reported.
he like poured it in her, like threw
Right.
it on her.
Correct.
Like Love and Hip Hop do.
Right.
Right.
Right. So what?
Yeah,
So he went to jail for that?
So I don't have all the details in front of
Okay.
me. So
Because there had to been something more than that if he went.
is there ever a situation where the wife could provoke a man to do that?
Well, I'm gonna be honest for a minute. My husband made me wait one day, and I poured my drink on him.
I love it. Keep
I mean,
it
he made
100.
me, man. I'm like, would you be quiet?
Right.
I mean,
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
hit him. I am being honest, okay?
Right. Yes. Please do.
I am
I'm
not-
gonna have to counsel Harold when we get
Yes.
there. James,
James.
you all right, baby?
So what
Things
happened?
happen. So this goes back to what I said earlier.
I
There
didn't
are
hit him.
isolated incidents.
But then we was cool. He kept.
Oh my God.
No, we weren't
She
drinking.
wasn't-
It
she
was
said it was just
Kool-Aid or
juice or
something. And he kept. Everybody. Okay, people who know my husband know he likes to.
He's very funny.
He's annoying.
Yeah.
He
Like that itch.
He,
Can't scratch.
So one day we was in the car and we got in the car, went in the house, and he still at it. I'm like, babe, would you please? I'm tired. And he wouldn't stop. And the kids in the house, and he bothered, and I just took the drink, and he started laughing. I'm like, I want you to be offended, you know. I want you to be mad about it. He ain't mad about it. He laughing about it.
Right.
So that situation,
You
I don't
have
know.
enough details to really say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then that means I became abusive then.
So here's another one for you. Actress Charlize Theron's, I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah,
No.
I've heard of it.
All right. Father was a violent alcoholic who was abusive toward her and her mother, often threatening to kill both of them. When Charlize was 15, her mother shot him in self-defense. Rhonda, what's your thoughts on hearing that?
Have you seen the movie The Burning Bed?
I haven't.
Okay, I watched that movie when I was a kid, and Farrah Fawcett played in it, and she was being beaten. It's almost like that Enough movie with J-Lo. After so long, and then the system fails you, and you don't get the help you need. And a lot of times, victims don't want to leave the relationship; they just want the abuse to stop, But then it's that trap feeling too. Where can I go if I do want to leave, and end up getting stuck? And after so long, they snap. I don't ever agree with violence on violence and taking someone's life, but I understand domestic violence syndrome.
We're still in the midst of our Cause in this third segment, so if you have questions, hurry up and go to Facebook, Rolling Out's page, and type your questions there. And one of our current questions says, is it harder for a woman to leave an abusive relationship when alcohol becomes involved even with her? So they're both drinking heavily now. Does it make it harder for her to leave if she didn't drink?
It makes it harder for her to leave when she does drink, because now a lot of times they become now just as abusive, because now it's a coping mechanism. It's now, I have to fight for my life. I love you when you're not drunk, but I hate you when you are drunk. So to defend myself, I'm going to get drunk too so that I can stay. So it becomes a coping mechanism. Now, if they're not drinking, I think they have a better chance of leaving. But they get in that syndrome. They get in that mode. It's what it is. And then I've actually heard women say it's better to stay because he's going to have more rights than I do in the end anyway. And that's where the new law came in place, Marcy's Law, where it gives the victim more rights. Will give them equal rights. The criminal has more rights. So a lot of abusers know whether I call the police or not, he's basically going to walk. That's how they feel. A lot of them feel like, because they feel like they have more rights anyway.
So we are getting prepared for our next segment. If you all have questions, be sure to go to Rolling Out's Facebook page. It's not too late. And we're going to be going to our public service announcement in a moment, but we still have Walt Harris, former NFL player, that's going to be coming up soon and going to be making a big announcement for us. Meanwhile, we're going to go to our PSA announcement and teach you about social responsibility and be safe when you drink.
When it comes to an informative, educational, enlightening, and entertaining conversation about alcohol, ranging from pairings to safely enjoying alcohol to safe travels getting home, there's only one show you want to listen to. Make sure to tune in to 100 Proof, compliments of Cocktail Conversations, as well as Rolling Out Magazine. Make sure to catch it on the Rolling Out Magazine Facebook Live and YouTube platforms. Again, we want you to be informed, educated, enlightened, entertained, and most important, keep it 100 proof. The 100 Proof Show, compliments of Cocktail Chronicles, hosted by Rolling Out Magazine. Take care.
And again, do not drink and go home and become abusive to anyone. Always show love when under the influence. Right now, we are in the midst of our On Fire segment. This is where we tell you what's crack-a-lackin' within the beverage community. And what's crack-a-lackin' is what we have here. So we're going to ask each one of our guests on the panel what they have going on. So let's start with you, Harolyn.
Well, my big initiative is Marcy's Law for Georgia. Currently in the state of Georgia, the accused have more rights legally than the victim. in the court settings. So Marsy's Law, we got passed through the House and the Senate with no nays, and we will be on the ballot in November. And what this bill does, once it becomes a law, is it gives victims equal constitutional rights. They have the right to be notified. They have the right to be heard. They have the right to appeal. They have the right to stand and say, you should not let them out. They have the right to be at a bond hearing, probation hearing, parole hearing. And they have a right to restitution. Also, that's my baby right there, Marsy's Law. Also, another initiative I am working on is a summer camp for young girls. I am trying to get that launched. It's going to be a 1-week thing, and it's going to be called Created Beautiful. And it is to get young girls to understand loving yourself, loving who you are, the way you are, the way God made you. As well as my husband and I, we have fellowship community outreach.
The one you poured the drink on?
My baby. I know he gonna talk about me. Rhonda, we need some counseling, honey. So she gonna talk about me. Anyway, we are working on some different, our job readiness program, and that is gonna serve the homeless and underserved community into getting them jobs and helping them get back to independence and not dependence.
All right, excellent. Good stuff you got going on there. Miss Rhonda, what do you have crack-a-lacking in your world?
Goodness, I have a lot going on. I am finally launching Chat and Choose. Chat and Choose is a small support group for survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, any crime victims, where they can just come and talk. One thing that I know as a survivor is that what I needed 20 years ago, I didn't need today, and what I need today, I didn't need 20 years ago, but I do need something. So to have an opportunity to come to a safe place and talk through what you're dealing with that week is still therapeutic without actually going to get counseling like crazy. I mean, counseling's okay. And then also, we are so excited. October 28th, it's a little ways away, but October 28th, we will be doing our Living Behind the Mask Masquerade Gala at City Hall, which we have done for the past 2 years. Actually, Harlan was one of our honorees. And what was your award, Harlan?
International something.
Oh, Lord, I put her on the spot. So we honor women who've overcame domestic violence. They're out there on the field helping women. And so Harlan was one of our honorees. And we have a fashion show, live entertainment. We are actually partnering with Official Pro Players to do that. So we are excited about that.
All right, excellent. So since Harlan has kept it 100 with us, have you ever been abusive to a man? Under the influence or not?
What
Keep it 100.
What do we consider abusive? Now, I'm playful, but no.
So playful could be, you teeny weeny.
No.
He may not see that as playful.
No, I mean, in the past, I've tore up a few houses.
Okay, so there it is. All right.
Poured a drink and she tore them out.
I tore some houses, baby, but I ain't hit nobody.
What was that movie where she set the clothes on fire? Was that Angela Bassett?
Yeah.
Waiting to exhale.
Exhale, but check out Burning Bed.
Okay, you said I wrote it down.
you'll
Burning
like
Bed. So we are in the midst of our Hot Spot segment, and this is where we tell you the best events that's happening all around town. And this is where we have Walt Harris, former NFL player, that's going to make a major announcement for you. Walt, how are you, sir?
What's up, Jay, my man? What's going on, brother?
All right, thanks for being here. So what's the big announcement you got for us?
Well, let's first. I really want to thank all of the supporters, past and present, for supporting Official Pro Players, and particularly for this particular event, which helps advocate for domestic violence. It's really something that's close to me, and obviously, this is what we're here for at the end of the day. And everyone that's been easily anticipating this weekend, the all-inclusive Hawaiian theme luxury cruise. Unfortunately, due to the weather, we are going to be canceling this weekend's cruise, unfortunately. But however, we're going to be rescheduling that.
Man.
Yeah, we're going to be rescheduling that for June 23rd. So for all of you that wanted to make it this weekend, this is your opportunity now. We've gotten so many calls and so many people that really wanted to be a part of it this weekend but have not been able to. Now you have the chance. I'm so sorry for those that really anticipated this weekend coming out, people from out of town. We are very apologetic for it, but Mother Nature calls, so we have to respect Mother Nature. We want to make sure that we respect the safety of everyone. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everyone have a great experience. So we're moving it to June 23rd. So that is the news. Hopefully,
What's the date again?
That will be June 23rd. Same
boat,
time,
regular
same experience. And so definitely go back to the website, same information, and get your day passes. This is your opportunity now. We want to make sure it's a great experience for everyone.
Where can they get the tickets?
You can get the tickets at oppdaycruise.eventbrite.com, and you can always go to officialproplayers.com.
And where the proceeds go for this event?
This is what it's all about. It's going to Rose of Sharon, domestic violence. We want to advocate for that.
She didn't pour you a drink on you to make you give her the proceeds, did she?
No, not at all. Not at all. We really want to do something.
All right,
Yeah.
excellent. Thanks, Walt, for coming through and sharing that information with us. So hopefully we see you all on June 23rd. And guess who will be your bartender? None other than yours truly, Jay Wesley. I will be there shaking it up for you. So my team is disappointed that we won't get to see you on this Saturday on the cruise. But June 23rd, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you get your tickets. And where they get the tickets real quick?
oppdaycruise.eventbrite.com. And you can also get it at officialproplayers.com also.
All right, so we're in the midst of our international sip segment. So we have all of our guests come back to the table. And so Walt, stay there. Don't go nowhere. All of our guests stay here. And so normally we have another cocktail at this time, but we're going to be closing out. I finished all of mine, but so Walt, Nigel, we want to take it back to you. Give us your final thoughts of tonight.
So, again, I think I'll end it with how I started it. It comes down to responsibility. We can't say that enough. I put it on just about everything that I put out into the public, dealing with my liquor line. Again, it's all about fun. Don't use it as a weapon. Use it as
love.
As love.
As a tool of love.
There you go, as a tool of love. And that's what it's all about. With UWI, it's all about making the world a happier place. So that's our primary goal.
All right, excellent. So Walt, we'll tell people where they can find you, Nigel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Instagram and Facebook, SIP UWI, SIPOUOUI, and of course UWI.com, OU-OUI.com. You'll see the buttons for all those social media stuff.
All right, and Walt, where can people find you?
You can always find me, The Real Walt Harris. That will be on Facebook as well as IG. And look me up, officialproplayers.com.
All right. And Miss Harolyn, it's been a pleasure having you tonight. Where can people find you at?
On Facebook, Harolyn Praises What I Do Rawls, and on Instagram, Harolyn S Rawls, and email saved.fco@gmail.com.
All right, excellent. And Miss Rhonda, where can people find you at?
I can be found at RhondaAThompson.com, Rhonda A. Thompson on Instagram, Rhonda A. Thompson on IG as well.
All right, excellent. So there it is. You all have heard a wonderful, powerful conversation here tonight, all about cocktails and domestic violence. We all know somebody in our family who may sip a little bit too much and become verbally or physically abusive. How should family members, as a final thought and takeaway real quickly, handle someone that they're seeing sipping too much and becoming verbally abusive? They're still in the midst of a lot of other people. What can you do as a bystander?
Oftentimes people say, oh, that's not my business, but domestic violence is your business. And your family member, get involved and say, hey, you're doing a little bit too much. And who better to do that than someone that loves you?
All right. And Miss Harlan, how should a bystander handle a situation?
They can reach out to a local nonprofit domestic violence organization or the community mental health for different programs that will assist family members with alcoholism.
All right. And so we want to encourage you to share this because a lot of people may need to hear this story. If you know someone that's experiencing domestic violence and you're afraid to approach them, share this page right here. Share this story. That's an easy way of sending a hint that they need to hear and they need some help. So be sure to follow us at Cocktail Chron, the number 1. Chron is short for Chronicles. Once again, Cocktail Chron, the number 1. And be sure to follow us every Tuesday, 9 p.m. at our new home right here at Rolling Out. We love it. And as always, we keep it 100 on 100 Proof. And the music that you're hearing tonight is done by our sound engineer, Chance C Uno Music. We love it. So, and again, we want to thank our sponsors, OUI, for being here. Make sure you get your tickets for the boat cruise so you can see me. I'll be there June 23rd pouring your drinks up. And always, we're your leading source of beverage industry news.